their practice ahead of that Detroit Roar. The Commanders are hoping to continue their surprising run, while the Lions are trying to make it back to the NFC Championship game for the second year in a row. All right, gentlemen, let's lock in on the quarterbacks here. RC, I want to start with you. Do you have more faith in Goff or in Daniels in this divisional round matchup?
Hey, this is such a loaded question, right? Because I have faith in both of these quarterbacks. Individually, if you ask me which one I want on my team, I say Jayden Daniels. But when it goes to who I have more faith in to produce and get a win in this game, it's Jared Goff. And that's because of the pieces around him. That's because of the offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. Understand that you're going to face a heavy man-based team on the back end in the Washington Commanders. The creativity they have in that offense, being able to take the top off of the defense with J-Mo Williams, but Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporte are working in between the numbers. On top of that, having a Jahmyr Gibbs that if you decide that you're going to play two high safeties or go-to man, have a guy that could run the football and exploit the defense. Jayden Daniels, to me, is the more talented player. Jayden Daniels has done more with less than Jared Goff. But when you talk about the team that Dan Campbell has assembled around Jared Goff and the way that he's executed within that offense, I have more faith in him and that team going into this game than I do the Washington Commanders and their young quarterback.
Well, definitely, I feel where you're coming from. I'm going to go with Daniels on this one, but not just because of his talent, not just because he's had about 4 fourth-quarter comebacks this season, second only to Patrick Mahomes' 5, but also because of the fact I'm looking at what they had, 13 dudes on the injured list for the Detroit Lions in the season finale against the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold couldn't take advantage of it. I think Jayden Daniels is the kind of cat who will. What's going to be interesting is that I've got Detroit winning this game, fellas. I will say this to you, though. If it's close, it'll be everything we wanted in this game from the standpoint that you put Jayden, if it's close, let's say, for example, Detroit is winning, but it's a one-score game, and it's coming down to the wire, and Jayden Daniels has the ball in his hands. That's going to be something to behold. With Detroit, you can look at Goff, you can look at Ben Johnson's play calling, you can look at Jameson Williams or Laporte or somebody that's going to get the ball, or you can look at Gibbs and see if he's going to do what he's capable of doing and running the football. In the case of Washington, even though McLaurin is there, what have you, it's really about Jayden Daniels at this point. What is he going to do to make something happen? Because that's what he does, makes things happen. Yeah. And against Detroit in the Motor City, as hyped as they're going to be, it's going to be real interesting to see how he's going to respond. I have faith in him more so than Goff, but that's no shade on Goff whatsoever. I just think Goff has more people to rely upon. Daniels, not necessarily the case. But in the end, we're going to find out about this kid because I think he's going to show up, and I think he's going to be in a position to make things happen.
I think it's evident that on paper, the Detroit Lions are favored because of the personnel that's around Jared Goff. I think skillfully, the two, it's not even really a comparison. Jayden Daniels has more upside. Now, if we want to label a title for the playoffs as a whole, it's Carpe Diem. You have to seize the moment. You have to seize the opportunity. You have to seize the day. Because it's no tomorrow. It's no next play. It's no next time. It's no my bads. It's we'll get a next. No, you do not have no guarantees in playoff football. So, Jayden Daniels, this message is for you. Do not chase ghosts. Do not worry about the intangibles. Do not worry about that you're playing one of the top teams in the NFL, in the Detroit Lions. Do not get so caught up into the crowd. Do not get so caught up into, the things that they're trying to make it out to be. It's an away game. You have the Lions' success, and they have a tendency to bully teams. You cannot allow yourself to worry about things that you can't control. If you do that, then you put yourself in the best situation to seize the moment. You have the skill. It was also loud in Tampa Bay last week. Yeah. But did that alter your gameplay? Absolutely not. Is it going to be loud in Detroit? Absolutely. Is it going to be loud everywhere this weekend? Absolutely. But do not worry about the intangibles. Just play your game. Now, understanding that those amenities, as I call, on your side, you have to get them going. Yeah. And nobody really cares about the excuses. We just want to see the production.
Yeah, but I think the thing that's beautiful about what you said to Jayden Daniels, or the message you send him, Cam, is that's exactly who he is. I watched this kid at 18 when the Oregon Ducks were a top 10 football team and they came into Arizona State with Justin Herbert. I watched him play Justin Herbert. I'll play Justin Herbert that night. I watched him make a throw down the sideline to win a football game in the last minute that was 80 yards with his back to the goal line. And so he's always been this player. Think about after Zane Gonzalez makes that field goal and it doinks off of the upright. There was no smile, there was no jubilation, there was no celebration because he understood the same way we talked about earlier, Stephen A., that the job's not finished. This kid has been poised since he started playing this season. And even though against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 1, it wasn't exactly what we watched it become, you could see that it was building. Everything around this young man has been, he's the one. Whether it was Austin Eckler in the offseason, whether it was Zach Ertz in the offseason, general manager Adam Peters, they all knew what they had from the moment that he stepped into the building. But Jayden Daniels has far exceeded expectations because of everything you said. He doesn't look at the rosters and say that we have no chance. He doesn't look at the clock or look at the scoreboard and think that this game is over as long as he has an opportunity to have it in his hands. And I believe Stephen A. laid it out perfectly. If we get a one-score game with the Washington Commanders down and the football in Jayden Daniels' hands, we have everything that we want from that game because I believe the young man can elevate his team and walk into the NFC Championship.
I would like to say this too, guys. He's played more football than this season he's played in his life. Yep. I mean, we got to remember that. And he's been hit too. He had blood trickling down his face the other day. He had a rib injury that caused him to miss some action earlier this season. You know, we know that he was injured in college and stuff like that. And I'm just bringing that up only from the standpoint, you going into Detroit. Listen, have y'all seen that environment? This is a team that hasn't done anything. I mean, last year they got to the NFC Championship game. Please don't get me wrong. But prior to that, they hadn't done anything basically since 1957. All they had to rely upon was Barry Sanders. Footages of Barry Sanders. You understand what I'm saying? Having him walk around as a virtual ambassador for the team or whatever, because we know he's one of the greatest running backs we've ever seen in our lives. He's absolutely spectacular. So much so that when we see Saquon Barkley, that's what we think about. You don't think about anybody else. You think about running backs in history. You don't think about anybody else but Barry Sanders when you think about what you see from Saquon Barkley. That's how spectacular Barry Sanders is. But these cats, this organization hasn't won anything since 1957. And so when you think about going into that environment, that's another thing that excites me about Jayden Daniels, because he seems to thrive under the most adverse of circumstances. Yeah. And in Detroit, the way Dan Campbell got them boys looking, as hyped as that city is going to be, that stadium is going to be, that environment is going to be, you got to be ready. You know this better than me, Cam, RC. You got to be ready before the game, before you show up. You got to be, you got to wear it in your head. It's like, yo, this is not normal circumstances right here. This brother is built for it, but we about to find out how built for it is he.
He's got 6 comeback wins this season when trailing the 4th most by a quarterback. We'll leave it there, guys. It'll be a lot of fun when we come back here on First Take. Some more to dive into. How much pressure's on Jalen Hurts to put up numbers this weekend? We're eyeing in on his arm and diving into whether the Eagles quarterback needs a big game to silence the critics. This is interesting, too. Plans for a league to rival the NBA are in the works. What do we think of the idea? How does it relate to LeBron James? Brian Windhorst here for all that.
You're watching First Take, presented by ESPN Bet Sportsbook.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Thì hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng. Vòng hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là nổ bỏng. Các bạn hôm nay vòng của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là bỏng ngô. Thôi không kéo ra đây, mình nổ yêu quái. Giờ là mình sẽ xỏ màu vàng nha. Mình lấy màu vàng đây. chọn màu trắng nhé. Mọi người ơi, đây màu vàng, màu hồng, cái gì nhỉ? Màu trắng đây nha. Tiếp đến sẽ vẫn là màu vàng. Anh ơi, không hạn chế được cái mồm thì cút.
Rồi, ai như vậy?
Anh không phải là cái từ nói vậy nó cũng bị bản quyền đâu. Cái từ ép đó.
Chưa vẫn vậy.
Mọi người ơi, đây là màu. Mọi người ơi, đây là màu vàng đây, màu vàng đây nha. Tiếp đến sẽ là màu trắng nha. Trời vơi qua ngày đông, sao thấy cô đơn như lần đầu. Mọi người ơi, đây màu trắng này, màu trắng của mình đây nha.
Anh ơi, em bảo cái từ đấy đừng nói.
Giờ đến màu cam nhé.
Anh không lúc này quên. Còn lại gì nữa?
Đến nãy giờ là 16 video. Có sai sót gì thì sau ông sẽ nhận hết.
Thay em ơi. Cô thay em ơi.
Em chưa bao giờ giấu anh điều gì. Chỉ là từ trước đến nay em chưa có gì là thật.
Ghi thằng này.
Bồi hồi lúc mới yêu nhau không cho chia tay. Hai ta có điều gì mà hợp nhau. Ê, chọn beat vào đây đi. Em mong sao
Xong rồi à?
anh nhưng mà
Xong cái gì?
giá đâu. Thế ăn một cam đi. Một cam nha.
Ghim thằng này nha, ghim thằng này.
Rồi.
Màu hồng nữa nha.
Anh ơi, thằng này.
Nói ít thôi. Làm đi.
Nhờ nè, mày nè.
Lên luôn.
Anh uống lên.
Giờ mình kết vòng này. Mọi người ơi, mình kết vòng nha.
Thằng nào xanh đi. Thằng nào xanh đi. Ủa sao nó xanh đi? Na xanh nhỉ? Sao na xanh đi?
giờ mình xỏ hạt xò này, mình xỏ hạt xò nha mọi người.
Thử nó. Rồi, đường dưới này. Đấy. Đường dưới này. Anh ơi, nó bảo anh thằng thằng mua trả lời sai điểm. Ô, sao nó e là thằng ấy? Làm gọi con dòng đi. Nó đi này, nó đi này. Vô kìa, vô kìa. Làm gọi nó.
Mọi người ơi, vòng của mình hoàn thành rồi này, vòng của mình hoàn thành rồi nha. Video của mình đến đây là kết thúc nha mọi người.
Ôi,
Mày đi. Mày